everybody. I'm Paul.
And I'm Vanda.
And today we're going to talk about work ethic.
Work ethic. And we are business as usual, right? Here we go.
Last time I
So
checked.
let's hit it. Yeah, work ethic. So Paul just said, how have you been? What are you doing? So I just flew in from Philadelphia. I have an Airbnb that I'm holding down it's a family business and contractors. And so that speaks to work ethic. I don't know. Do you think that it affects the success of your business and the sustainability of your business? How about that? I think it's related. I know it's related, but so many folks do not have, I don't know. I also want to call it integrity about their business or their work or their craft or their skill. I'm not really sure, but it perplexes me to be in business and not have solid work ethic. What do you think?
Oh, absolutely. If I'll give you an example. In my business line of business, I have to do a lot of cold calling. So yesterday, and being a one-man band, it's a little different. But yesterday, I called maybe 15, 20 businesses. That takes a lot of discipline to do that, and you just have to be methodical about it. If you hire an employee and they don't have a work ethic and they don't do that, unless you have some kind of checks and balances, the work's not getting done and you're losing money.
Losing money. Ding, 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 ding. Yes.
Yeah. So a business's goal on the financial side is to always be in the green, right? Never in the red, in the green. So yeah, I mean that's
in the green, definitely in the black, never in the red. Mm-hmm.
Right, exactly. So did you need to vent about these contractors, or were they just not?
So I signed a contract with an electrician.
Mm-hmm.
I blocked out time in the Airbnb, right? We have a guest house for 12 days. Mm-hmm. And in those 12 days, we agreed that the work could be done and then another contractor could come in to paint, plaster, seal up all the holes because he's running new lines. And it all made sense. And we've been preparing for this for weeks now. And so the time came and the electrician disappeared after day number 3. Nobody heard from him. Nobody could get in touch with him. His phone went to voicemail. So, and I have a guy who's like the production manager. He oversees and he's the caretaker of the Airbnb, and he has no answer. And I'm just like, what? You can't get paid on the balance if you don't finish the job. And so let's talk about that. So you mess up the schedule, and now I'm losing money because the weekends, I couldn't have a guest that weekend, but I could have had a guest that weekend because you weren't working, Mr. Electrician. So why did I cancel the guest stay? So all of these things are relative. And I recognize that there's a domino effect. When there is a loss for the business, there's a loss for the client as well. And when there's a loss for the client, there's a loss for the business. So it goes hand in hand. It's like the collective when you have signed a contract to do business with someone.
Right.
So I was disturbed and I said, well, let me get on a plane and head to the house and fix it, Mm-hmm. And so I booked my ticket, and what do? I hear from the electrician. Very nonchalant. There's no apology. There's no remorse, no regret. Oh, some people died, or there was a death in the family, and yada, yada, yada. And I'm kind of like, we have cell phones that we can carry in our pockets these days. There really is no reason for a lack of communication. And so after 3 days, there's no electrician. So we go a week, no electrician. I've canceled that weekend of guests because I had electricians in the home. And I decided that I needed to get there because people aren't doing what they're supposed to be doing. And so I hop on a plane and I go to the guest house. And the day that I'm flying out, I hear from the electrician. Right. So now I have a choice because I'm fired up. What would you have done? I asked the people, what would you have done? You know, there was a part of me that was like, screw the deposit, $2,500 deposit. I'm over it. I'm going to find an electrician. I'm going to call and get a referral, and I'll go and do my own legwork. And then the other part is, well, I really need him to finish the job. But there's something that's been lost now. Trust is gone. There's no trust. This person has keys to the house. You know, can I trust that he's going to finish so that we can post the next guest? Like, is the calendar? You know, there's so much stuff. So I was really torn. Meanwhile, this is business, and you know, we're human. So personal feelings of betrayal come into play, and you know, it gets really icky when all of that starts to interfere with business. Right. What I call those human mortal emotions. You know, that should not have to come into the play of business, but it does because we're human. So my journey was to be able to keep my eye on the vision of completing the job. Because he wants to return, right? That's what we should do. So I show up, I arrive on a Monday, and the job was supposed to be complete by Wednesday. That would have completed the 12-day for this schedule for this job. On Monday, the electrician shown, I was still flying there, so I had my maintenance guy in. The electrician worked 1 hour and 15 minutes, and then he left. So when he arrived on Tuesday, I was at the house, and he worked 2.5 hours, and he left. And I just thought, who could run a business like that with no regard? So yeah, I call it contractor hell, because I really had to sit and not be, you know, nobody wants to be furious and irate and upset and frustrated. This is not going to accomplish anything. So what do you do in business when you are in a contract with someone who has no work ethic, you know, and you've lost integrity and you've lost trust? How do you move forward? And so I have the answer. Oh, I got the answer. Yeah, you got to bite the bullet. You got to bite the bullet. And I had conceded to the fact that I had to bite the bullet and do whatever I needed to do to get the job done. So I worked with a production manager, but I recognized that once I let down my firing arm, I got a different response from the contractor. I also had to set some rules because, you know, guys, with contractors, like with many folks that you may partner with to do business, you have to be present. It's unfortunate. You have to be present, but I mean, you've got to be, it's like a child. You have to watch every move. And that's challenging sometimes because it's not your lane. It's not your arena. So it doesn't always feel good. I know nothing about electricity. I don't know what electricians do, you know, so it's Chinese to me, but I had to take responsibility because at the end of the day, if it messes with your business or your money, then needing to be hands-on. So I learned that I needed to choose better. I need to, here's a key, check referrals when you're doing business. Do your due diligence. I did not get 3 referrals. I only had 1 referral. Desperation when you're doing business, desperation and business don't go together. That's another thing that I learned. Any of this sound familiar to you? What do you think?
Oh, yeah. Oh, yeah.
What do you think, Paul?
Yes, it does. And I would say, you know, if it was me in that situation that you're dealing with, I would bite the bullet as well. I would say, look, Mr. Contractor, I'm not pleased with you right now. You know, we had a contract. I'm sorry there was a death in your family, if there really was a death in the family, because I'm telling you, that's an easy cop out. No one's going to ask you
It's
any
the
more
number
information.
one excuse sometimes.
Yes.
Yes.
Have we
Yes.
ever used it? Maybe. But
Now, I believe in karma, so no.
Oh, it does come back and bite you. Oh yeah.
It does.
I mean, I swear to God, I'm guilty of it when I was younger. Like, oh, my grandma's sick in the hospital. I couldn't make it, And I realized, I had integrity checks in my younger days. And I
Good for
realized,
you.
yeah, and this is from someone who's, mea culpa. I'm admitting this. Being that person who would lie about something like that, it doesn't help you if you're just honest about it. It's going to make you better as a person, and you don't have to keep remembering the lie. That old adage. So if 3 months from now, Mr. Contractor, you had to call him because, hey, there was a problem with this. I know you were dealing with a death in your family at the time, and you were a little rushed. He's like, what death in the family?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. Well, you brought up a good point. What if you have to call later? So here's another piece that many of you probably know, those that are new to business may not, is that you always hang on to 10% of whatever the cost of the job is. Mm-hmm. You hang on to 10% until all is said and done. So if the job is waiting to go to print, or the job is waiting for final approval, or you have to drive the car, even with a mechanic, if you can, in those cases you'll get a warranty, make sure, but something you can hang on to make sure that, like you said, if in 30 to 60 days you need to call them back, they're going to come, because they want that balance. At least with contractors, that's safe to do. But you brought up a really great point. So tell me this, what are your thoughts now that we're speaking to business ethics and integrity, accountability? So when folks behave this way and they are in a contract with you and they are not holding true to the contract, not being responsible, what do you think that does to the pay schedule? Should they be paid? Should they be paid? Of course they should be paid. But, I'm not bending over backwards now to, you have to understand, if you're not bending over backwards to take care of your client, you're risking your payment schedule, if not your pay.
Right. Well, I'll give you
my partner in this is now saying, well, we lost a guest and we could have had that guest because there was no work being done. Why aren't we deducting that? It just gets messy and it gets sticky. Okay, go ahead, Paul.
No, I was going to say, we design websites. You're a former website client of mine.
Oh, by the way, I have a referral for you, so remind me
awesome.
when we get back to the green room.
Thanks. Yeah. But so, my prices are $2,500 for a completely customized website. And they've gone up over the years to adjust for whatever. But I know for a lot of small business owners, that's a little hefty right up front. So I offer a 3, 6, or 12-month payment plan. So there's collateral. Whereas I hold on to the full administrative rights until the invoice is paid in full. However, they can still get into the back end of the website and they can do whatever they need to do without getting some of the core things. So if they refuse to pay after 90 days, guess what? Your website's in construction mode until I get paid. So it keeps both parties accountable. With a project like an electrician, all you can do as the customer is hold on to the funds until the job is done. I like the 10% thing, and it does work in I would say many contractual situations. You know what I mean?
Indeed. So I hope this is helpful for some folks. I am always happy to share my errors and my detours, and I hope that it helps perhaps you learn something and you don't have to go through the same. That 10%, you're right. That's a real necessity. It's a real, in any kind of business, if you're signing a contract, and you should write that into the contract.
Yes.
I like 3 payments. A lot of folks don't do 3 payments. Everybody wants a deposit and then a balance. And I'm like, well, always leave space so that we can discuss. That's what I say. Always leave space to discuss. Mm-hmm. Well, thank you, Paul.
Thank you, Vanda. And thank you, everyone, for watching us. This is Business as Usual, and we'll see you next week.